Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today's video is going to be looking at the tuning changes that we got this week for Warlock on War Within Beta. I just noticed that this is a towel to block the Roomba for coming in this room. Just to clarify, it's not a pair of pants or anything, it's to block the Roomba. Anyways, this week's beta brought a handful of changes to Warlock, tuning for Destro, Demo, and F. We're going to look at that today, talk about the changes, look at it briefly in combat, because in 4 days, 4 days roughly, however long, whenever this video comes out, we're having pre-patch. It is coming very quickly, and we're going to have guides coming out, Destro, Demo, F, looking at talent builds, rotations, and all that for the pre-patch. So this video is hitting today, tomorrow, the next day, the day after, Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, all guides coming out. And Monday, as long as things are going to plan, we're going to have a video coming out for basically prep for pre-patch with all the talent builds, weak auras, all that, so on and so forth. Heads up, a couple things here. Weak auras add-ons, if you want them in this video, whatever you see, link to Twitch and Discord down below. You can get it for free. The Warlock Central Weak Aura, you'll see it in this video here. It is indeed posted in my Wago now. It's out there if you want it for free, go get it. I would not import it, or I wouldn't delete the old one at least until pre-patch hits. I deleted Siphon and a few things out of the updated one for War Within and pre-patch. It should all work. It's working for me. If there's bugs, just post it in Discord. I'll figure it out. If you guys want it, it's now in the Wago for free, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, also hit on the last few videos. The MMO awards voting is indeed still alive. If y'all want to do that for a couple weeks, I think it's over here somewhere actually. We've indeed been nominated for the Content Creator of the Year category, which is insane. If you guys voted initially a few weeks ago, this is a new voting. It's the final voting. If you guys want to vote for me or whoever, link probably in the description if I remember. It is MMOawards.com. That's where you want to vote. And also, last thing, the War Within Beta spreadsheet for Warlocks indeed live on Patreon if you want early access to that. The Felgar rank or higher does indeed get it. It'll go live publicly anyways, regardless if you like early access to that. Links appear as well as down below in the description to Patreon and all of that kind of stuff. It contains POV raid stuff, specs for all the fights, talent builds, BIS gearing, I guess BIS for now because sims aren't done and all that, but a lot of stuff there if you guys want it. Now, let's get into the changes and a little bit of combat testing. Alrighty, so the changes today. A lot of tuning. I think we're sort of past the part of beta where you're going to see like new talents being introduced, old ones being removed. Maybe some class tree changes, possibly reducing some talent points, but likely not going to happen with it being this far into beta. We'll see where it goes. Either way, so hero talents, Hellcaller. We knew this was coming. Wither got nerfed. Hate Fury rituals have been reduced from 50 to 30% increase. It reduces, and the duration reductions, not 15, was 25. Doesn't really matter with Absolute Corruption, which is what we were playing, but basically 50% to 30%. Reducing the damage increase of Hate Fury rituals, so it is competitive. It's a competitive choice with Bleak Heart tactics rather than the correct choice. So that, for those who don't know, that is this here essentially. This node right here. As Affliction, you're playing Hate Fury rituals because, I mean, you're playing AC basically everywhere anyways. They never ended up tuning this and making it like better in single target compared to this. Raw numbers wise, Siphon Life is 5% better for the corruption buff that it brings or wither buff that it brings compared to AC, but AC saves infinite global. So you just play AC everywhere, and that's it. Now, this was 50%, it's now 30. Bleak Heart Tactics is 20. And whenever you damage, you have a chance to, well, whenever Wither does damage, you have a chance to gain an extra stack of Blackened Soul, which is interesting because Blackened Soul deals damage. Whenever it does, you have a chance to gain Tormented Crescendo. So playing this, in a sense, gives a bit of a higher chance to proc Seeds. Not a crazy amount, but it's still there. You can feel it. And in general, 20% and 30%, I think the chances are pretty much just play Bleak Heart at this point when it comes to, I would assume AF and Destro. I would assume this is better with the nerf that Wither got, well, I guess this got, and the nerf that Wither got in general, which is right here. So Wither itself was hit by 20%. Now, it's not a flat 20 and 20. I believe it's around 30% roughly overall from where it was. The nerf is noticeable when it comes to M+, but also like a weird talent bug that was fixed there too. We'll get to that in a minute. Which hurt also as well, but it's noticeable. I think AF is still good in plus. We're going to run more dungeons this weekend and see how it is. It's still, I believe, the strongest spec in single target based on what I tested today, but it might change talents a bit. Might not play Sacrilege anymore. Might play Malefic Touch and Oblivion. We'll look at testing in a minute here as well. Affliction and Demo are very close in single target. when it comes to like just pound for pound where they're at. A lot of RNG in both. It's currently Hellcaller F is ahead of Soul Harvester by a decent bit still from what I've seen. Diabolus and Soul Harvester Demo are both pretty close to one another, and that's partially because of the buff that Soul Harvester got today for Demonology. They increased the succulent soul damage that the shards give essentially to Hand of Gul'dan up to 60%. It was 20. I think this is still too low. Diabolus still does more damage with Hand of Gul'dan overall due to things like I think it's Touch of Rancora and other effects that increase Hand of Gul'dan damage, but it's better now for Soul Harvester than it was. This is a change from last week. I don't know. I don't. This is new. Master Demonologist and Shadow Touch, Demonic Soul stuff. This is the change from last week that wasn't documented, but it's here. I think that when it comes to Soul Harvester, I'm not going to show every single hero talent, every single spec today, because it's a lot to show, and I want this video to be an hour long. But I think it still needs some buffs. Soul Harvester does, both to your Demonic Soul and probably Soul Anathema, but we'll see where it goes. Probably gonna make a video next week if there's more tuning, looking at damage breakdowns for each spec then, but this video, I don't want it to be an hour long and got a lot to do. And then finally, Destro got some buffs today. So we talked about Destro being a little undertuned compared to the Demon F. It was, I said probably an aura buff or like a lot of like individual buffs, which they did. A lot of individual buffs here. Infernal 10%, CDF 10%, Soulfire 5%, Incinerate 5%, and Shadowburn 80%. Shadowburn essentially hits with its damage amps and all that for as much as a Chaos Bolt does in Execute, and it costs 1 shard and is instant cast. It actually does a good bit of damage. If you look at what Destro can do here with Shadowburn damage amps, you can increase the crit strike chance more when targets below 30, and it also gives just more damage in general. And you have this here as well. When it doesn't kill a target, the cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds if it's below 30% health. So you have this giving you just a damage increase in general and a higher crit strike chance, and you have, you know, Shadowburn being right here. Now the thing with this is that maybe on a fight like Bloodbound Horror maybe in Nerevar Palace, or like Kel'Thuzad from Sanctum of Domination, right? There's a boss that's, you know, going high health, low health a bunch, a lot of ads spawning, you can Shadowburn snipe a lot. I would very likely consider playing that there. In single target though, I still don't think it's worth casting in single target. I haven't seen the numbers on it. But if you're moving, it's likely worth casting while moving at this point, but I think CDF is better because you get Soulfire. If you trim CDF, I wouldn't play Soulfire. This is like the reset more often than not to Soulfire every 15 seconds. So 20, 15, whatever it is. So I don't think it's probably not as good or worth playing in a pure single target build, but if there's a build where you don't want CDF, it's like a cleave based build, like Bloodbound Horror or whatever, I would look at something like this possibly. Just pull out of here, full Shadowburn amps, and play like PO and maybe Dimension Ripper if it works out well, or like Havoc up here. Throw it in Havoc, throw it up here. You get Shadowburn cleave, Havoc cleave, Rolling Havoc cleave, and all that. And honestly, that looks pretty decent, right? So gotta see where that goes. Destro's got a lot of interesting talent combinations that you can take possibly depending on the fight. But yeah, so those are the buffs today overall. Let's look at some of them. Not all of them. I can't make an hour-long video here. Some of them in combat, and then more later on next week once things get fleshed out a bit more. But let's do that. Okay, so we're going to start off with Affliction here. I forgot to mention one really important thing, and that is a bug fix that happened this week, which also affected AF a lot in AoE. That is to Cull the Weak. So this has been bugged for all of Alpha and Beta from what I understand, where basically putting 1 point in this talent, it's 4% and 8% at rank 1 and 2 respectively, but putting just 1 point in here would give you a 40% Malefic Rapture damage amp everywhere. Single target, AoE, anywhere you went, from what I understand. I didn't play it in single target, I didn't exploit it in single target, I played regular builds, but at M+, you played this talent. So essentially like this, whatever build you're playing, would give you the max 5 target, 8 times 5, 40, the max benefit, whether it were a single target, AoE, so on and so forth. That has been fixed this build, so they nerfed Wither a bunch, also fixed this interaction. Now, the thing is, there is a really weird way this ability works. And I tried to figure it out for a while on stream, and Malakath pointed it out for me. So the way this works, I've never seen an ability work this way before, is that, so Malefic Rapture damage is increased by 4 or 8% for each enemy it hits, up to 5. So I would initially, assume like, okay, I'm hitting 5 targets, they all get the 40% damage increase from Cull the Weak. Doesn't work that way. Then I thought, okay, looking at it in combat and things, maybe it's random, like Destro Mastery, where it can be anywhere from 8% to 40% based on what I was seeing in combat, based on the number of targets that have dots in them. Also, doesn't work that way. The way that it works, which is really weird, is that you can't choose what target it hits or what it amps things with, but it basically does your first target, I don't say target, not even target. The first mob that Rapture hits, like based off like server ping and all that stuff, gets an 8% increase. Second one gets the 16%. So that's essentially, 8 times 2 for 2 targets. The third one gets 24. That's essentially counting for 3 targets that have dots on them. The fourth one gets 4. So 4 out of 5, because 5 is the max number of targets you can get, for a 32% damage amp, and the last one gets the final 5 out of 5 damage amp. I've never seen an ability work this way in my life. I hope it's not intended. You can see this is like 1 Rapture, and this is Rapture 2. The cast begins here. Also 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40. Now, the good news here, targets 5 and beyond all get 40%, but I think most were assuming this would all just give, like, if it's 5 targets, a 40% amp to every mob that it hits. If this is a weird bug, which I hope it is, hopefully it's fixed. If not, this talent is nowhere near as good as I thought it was in M+. You'll still play it, but it's very, very mediocre. In mass AoE, you'll get value, but these like 4 or 5 mob pulls, I don't know what's going on here. It has to be a bug or a weird like coding error. I don't know how it. I've never seen an ability work this way in my life in this game. I'm not saying like in a bad way. I don't think it's good, but like in an insulting way. But like hopefully it's bugged, because this is a very weird interaction. And hopefully when they tried to fix the bug with 1 point giving 40% everywhere, they fixed it. But hopefully they made another bug, because that is a weird interaction. And hopefully it works. Hopefully it's fixed. If not, yeah. So if this is fixed, AF will be better again in M+. It's still fine now, but AF was getting a full 40% Rapture buff to every mob that it hit in plus, while Wither was OP. Wither was nerfed, and this is also fixed. So AF got hit with a bat twice. They went full Negan on this thing. Walking Dead reference there. Like yeah. So hopefully one of these is a bug. Either way, that's that. So we're going to look at AF here in single targets, briefly show you what it looks like damage-wise, and go from there. And I am not playing Sacrolash here. I pulled the point out of this and put it here. I pulled Withering Bolt to go into Malefic Touch. It was buffed. We'll see where it lands. Might be worth playing, not really sure, but this build's been okay. There's been a lot of lag on beta and stuff too, so don't really watch, like, you can look at overall damage here, but like I've seen a lot of fluctuations here based on what's happening and stuff anyway, so wouldn't worry about it a whole lot. But we're going to look at damage here regardless and go from there. So we're going to open up, cast 2 Shadow Bolts here for Shadow's Embrace. I'm going to go Singularity. I'm going to Soul Rot. I'm going to Dark Glare, pop my Trinket Malevolence, begin Rapture. You got a TC proc, we'll dump that. Dump a few more shards here. We want to dump this Oblivion now before everything else ends here. One more Rapture. Dump my Oblivion. Haunt's going to fall. Got to refresh this. Shadow's Embrace is going to fall too. Is what it is. Wasn't looking, but it's fine. Dump the rest of these Raptures before Soul Rot falls. Pretty decent opener here, honestly. A lot of shards coming in. But unlike Soul Harvester, we're not going to have those 3 shards coming in whenever we cast Soul Rot. So got to play it a bit safer here and not dump excessively outside your windows here. I'll dump 1 proc there, obviously. But the big thing here is that it still feels like what it felt like before. I've noticed about probably like a 70k DPS difference between what it was before and what it is now, but it's still pretty strong, I'd say. And I feel like it's sort of where it feels like roughly where I expected them to want to tune certain classes and specs, if that makes sense, and roughly like damage wise. Can I get any shard gen here? What's happening? Shards? Okay, I don't know what happened, but we're gonna cast some spells here because I didn't generate any shards. I don't know what's happened there, but either way, it feels similar to like what happened to my shards. Anyways, I assume to be somewhere around this like number, like tuning wise and all that. I've seen somewhere around like 720k, give or take, at the end of like our second Dark Glare, which is about what I expected it to be. Now, Demonology wasn't too far behind, lagging again. Demonology wasn't too far behind Affliction last week with the buffs that it got, and honestly, with these nerfs, they're both actually pretty close. We're going to do one more Dark Glare here. It's coming up in 15 seconds, so we'll wait for that. Lagging again. Wait for our Soul Rot as well. Lagging again. Cast that. Cool. And once again, this week war is available in the Woggle if you guys want. Twitch and Discord links all down below. Just, I wouldn't replace your retail one with this until pre-patch hits because it'll delete Siphon Life and things, but if you want to ahead of time, go for it. Up to you. So we're going to refresh UA here a little early because why not? I'm going to Singularity, Soul Rot, pop this. My shards are back, thankfully. Dump this TC proc, dump this Nightfall proc, dump some Raptures here. We're getting a million TC procs and capped on shards. Dump this, my Oblivion. There we go. Refresh my Haunt, launch this thing, and pray for another shard. And TC proc, bam, there we go. So, I mean, about what I've seen, give or take, 730. Breakdown-wise, Rapture, Wither doing less damage. I mean, we expected it to get nerfed, and it has, but still a decent bit of your damage, right? Max tick 265, used to be like 700k, I feel like, in certain spots in raid testing, but, you know. Rapture up here, biggest one being a million. Agony, Blackened Soul, not being that bad. Oblivion being here, max tick 1.3 million, not too bad. Malefic Touch being here at 4%. I've seen it a bit higher, like 5%, give or take, depending on TC procs and all that. Had very little shards in my second window. I don't know, maybe I raptured. I was only paying attention. Dark Lair here, 4%. Visionary being a separate damage event right here, 1.1. So not terrible. Now we're going to shift gears here and look at Demonology. We're going to look at Soul Harvester Demo here, playing Feast of Souls, all this kind of stuff. Spoilers ahead for the pre-patch guide. This is actually the best spec that we've seen in Sims and everything so far for Demonology in pre-patch, and also likely in Warwithin, barring some interaction changing. You're playing Doom and Impending Doom and Pact of the Aerodrin. Core economy's been destroyed, nerfed a good bit, so Hatred just terrible. They never buffed it. This is all dead, pretty much. This is not bad either. This is bugged, not spawning an imp when Doom does damage, but this has been fixed on dummies for the most part, so we're going to play that. Also, this weak aura has been changed. I added a wrong pet option to this weak aura. So if you're like me and test on dummies or do whatever, or just dumb in general, I often swap from like Affliction or Destro to Demonology, and it doesn't despawn your pet like it used to. So I often go into combat with my Voidwalker out or my Imp or whatever as Demonology. This weak aura, when I yell at you, it's on passive and you get the wrong pet out. So let's pull out the Belguard here, and the wrong pet text will go away for Demonology. Very, very cool. And it's still on passive, you can change that up. There you go. That will save my life a million times over the next 5 years, however long I'm going for. So, gonna get combat here. We're gonna Siphon, precast a Bolt, get in there, big dog. There's a lot of lag. Again, still, I had to re-record this segment twice already, so hopefully this is okay. Cast dogs, we're gonna bolt. Doom is applied, gonna bolt again here. Couple more hands, hope we don't lag. Hand. That we are not playing Diabolist here, which means 3 shards, some Soul Harvester, whenever you catch your Tyrant, some Succulent Souls right there. We're also not getting that big damage amp on our Tyrant, but the damage here is a bit more sustainable, if that makes sense. It's not as spiky because like you're getting these random Succulent Soul procs every so often. Your Tyrant is not as like strong raw power wise, but your pet's still getting the same damage, and from him more consistency with like Hand of Goulands being buffed by Succulent Souls. The damage here is not that bad. If you look at the AF part, I mean, it's not terrible, and I found both this and Diabolus to be very close to one another when it comes to like just straight up damage for Demonology. Now, Doom's going to expire here. Very cool. I'll launch a bolt here, actually, to show you guys. No Doom Guard, unfortunately, but they've also made Doom smart, where, so for example here, watch this Doom. I'll try and time it here. We're going to get it low here. I'm going to cast a Shadow Bolt here. I'm going to watch this Doom right now. I'm going to cast Bolt. That Bolt consumes, there's a Doom Guard as well. That Bolt takes time off of the actual Doom itself. It consumes extra seconds, but it also adds a new Doom application. It checks if like, okay, did it consume a Doom? Great. Can we apply an extra application? Cool. Or an application, cool, we can, because it had extra time left over, if that makes sense. It's smart. It's good. People like me that aren't very smart, it works out. Damage-wise here, about 700k. About where AF was after its second Dark Lair. We'll wait for one more Tyrant here and go from there. But yeah, I mean, they both feel pretty similar. Like, I'll admit, I like Diabolus a lot. It's very cool. But the consistency of Soul Harvester is appealing, in a sense. So, especially with, like, dogs not giving cores guaranteed anymore. Very briefly in combat here, breakdown-wise, we're looking at here, Tyrant not the best because we're not playing Diabolus, but still in general, Belguard, Imps, Purple Dog, Shadow Bolt, we're pretty similar to what we've seen for the most part. So, gonna set up here a little early, but no big deal. Got a couple 4 procs there. Cast some hands, cast some dogs, cast this Purple Dog. One more hand. We'll hand again. think we can catch these dogs if we don't lag. Yeah, we caught them. Good. Got a strength, and yeah, sitting at about 670 when we tyrant it here. We'll see where we land. I have no core procs. Super cool. We got a lot of buffs sucking on souls or whatever. That's nice at least. About 700k, give or take. So a little lower than AF from what I've seen, but like not by a crazy amount. And it's still climbing here. 710, 715. They're both pretty close. And it's more consistent than Diabolus, I would say, with like Ruination Meteors and Tyrants doing more damage. Whether you like it or not, you know, that's how it is. Breakdown wise, you're looking at Felgar being up here. Our 4-piece sucks. Currently got to buff it still. Imps, Shadowbolt, Gloomhound, Dreadstalker, Gloomhound's purple dog. These are like regular dogs. Soul Anathema, Demonic Soul. Actual Hand of Gul'dan here at about 5.8%. Diabolus in single targets about 8 to 9% here because of things like Touch of Rancora and Nathriza, right? Just bigger buffs to Hand of Gul'dan. So like, while this is helpful in a sense, like it probably needs to be like 100% sucking on souls. It's still not strong enough for Soul Harvester. All right, and we have Destruction. I'm going to show you guys just like the non-Shadow Burn version of Destro. You cast it and execute. It's a hit 6 hearts. Chaos Bolt does instant cast. All these interactions here are cool, but these dummies are up and down in health. Honestly, I don't think it's worth hitting outside of execute. But I will show you the aura buffs like CDF. You can see Infernal's damage here. You can see Soulfire's damage with the buff as well, and go from there. I think Destro's still the lowest overall when it comes to like raw damage, but the buffs to those abilities help, and we'll see where it goes long term. So I'm going to Soulfire here to kickstart my damage. That means to live on forever. Going to cast my Infernal. I'm going to Conflagrate. Going to cast Trinket, Malevolence, cast a Bolt here to not overcap too long. Right into a CDF, try and reset Soulfire. We got it. Chaos Bolt, Soulfire. I'm going to Bolt again. We're overcap on shards. Conflagrate. I'm going to Bolt. I'm going to Soulfire. I'm going to Bolt. I'm going to Conflagrate. I'm going to Bolt. Spawn Aura Fiend. I'm going to Bolt again. I'm going to Conflagrate. I'm going to cast Incinerate. I'm going to Bolt. I'm going to CDF, hope for a Soulfire reset. We got it. Cast Soulfire. Going to overcap on shards. Going to Bolt. Going to Conflagrate. Going to Bolt. Going to Bolt. Now we got a little bit of downtime coming up because things are a little slow. Aura Fiend here. That's okay. We're waiting for him to get some shards back. A bit slower here, but I really never, ever, ever have to manually reapply Wither when playing Soulfire. It resets often enough. You don't have to. In about 10 seconds here, you have Trinket and Malevolence coming back around. This damage is not terrible. It's not as high as like AF and Demo have been, but it's not terrible by any means, right? So going to build some shards here. Might overcap for a second or two, we'll see. Going to cast Trinket, pop Malevolence, hit this, hope for a Soulfire reset because we're losing our Wither. We did not get it. Okay, I'll eat my words and recast it manually. That's fine. Nobody saw. Bolt, Conflagrate, Bolt, launch a Soulfire. There's an Aura Fiend right there. Incinerate, Bolt, Conflagrate, Bolt, Soulfire reset. I really enjoy the playstyle they've made for Destro as well, with Soulfire being like a random, like an RNG reset, but consistent as well with CDF like feeding into it. It's a really cool interaction that they made with that, like, the two abilities, and it feels like almost like they're made for each other in a sense, right? I played Soulfire without CDF, doesn't feel very good. I played CDF without Soulfire in single targets sometimes, doesn't feel very good. Soulfire, CDF, Bolt here. Have Infernal coming up in 10. This is actually a decent bit of damage, more than I've seen in like my own testing, which is honestly like not bad to say because it's pretty similar to Destro or to AF and you know, Demo here as well. So cast one Bolt here, a couple shards, hoping for a Soulfire reset. We got it. Cast that, put my Infernal down, pop this. Go into a CDF, hope for a reset. Got one. Bolt, Soulfire, Bolt Aura Fiend, Bolt again, Conflagrate, Bolt again. Damage is not bad. It's higher than I've seen actually for Destro. I think it's still a little lower, especially lower when like Demo and AF get good pulls with higher RNG, but it's not terrible. We've had decent RNG here as well when it comes to like Soulfire resets and things too, so not terrible overall, but not bad. Not bad, honestly. In breakdown wise, we're looking at Bolt hitting pretty hard. Now earlier I had a 2 million Chaos Bolt as Diabolist because of this ability right here, Touch of Rancora. Yeah, it was a 2 million Chaos Bolt, pretty strong, about 1 million here with basic math. Incinerate, I had 31 casts of Incinerate and 38 casts of Chaos Bolt. Shard Gem, pretty solid for Destro with Soulfire and all that. Wither being here, Black and Soul being here, about the same, pretty much neck and neck. This is also impermanent execute from you guys have seen, so a bit inflated here. Soulfire, max hit 1.43, Chaos Bolt from Aura Fiend 7%, CDF, Conflagrate, Infernal, so on and so forth. So when it comes to Demo, Destro and AF. They're all pretty similar. I think it's like the AF, Demo, Destro, but they're all pretty similar and all have similar but different damage profiles depending on what setting they're good at. What's their niche? They're different. They're good at different things, different niche things, but they're all pretty similar right now. We'll see where it goes in the long run. Those are the updates today. That's the Cull of the Week bug, and yeah, that's the video. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I mean, the affliction changes to where I thought were coming. We all knew they were probably coming. The nerfs hurt a bit. It's still pretty close between AF and Demonology when it comes to single target. And honestly, Destro was not that far behind, which honestly I think is pretty cool, depending how you want to look at it. Each spec is like relatively close to one another in single target, but they all have varying damage profiles. Destro, Havoc Cleave. AF, Council Cleave. Demonology, Stat Cleave. And there's a bit of in between for each spec too, but if all of the specs are tuned pretty similar to one another, but they excel in different settings, you'll play all three during the raid. The question is, or I guess the thing is, you want the tuning of all three to be similar, but also good on the higher end and not down in the dumpster where you've been, you know, in the past. So we'll see where that goes. But like I said, any week orders add-ons on the video, links to Twitch and Discord down below. You can get them all for free. At the same time, a massive shout out to my patrons for all support on Patreon. Y'all, like always, thank you all a million times. I really appreciate it. Thank you. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link over here somewhere, as well as down below in the description. And the War Within Beta Warlock Spreadsheet is indeed live on Patreon. If you'd like early access to that before it goes public, the Tier 3 Failguard rank or higher does indeed get that. Now, this is also, like I said, the first real big patch of tuning, lock tuning, tank tuning, and all that. I would expect more to come over the next few weeks, and possibly some more raid testing if they want to test the changes they've made, or just in general some bosses getting changes, which is probably pretty likely, looking at how some of those bosses went, but we'll see where it goes. Either way, like always, thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you all again soon on stream. Peace!